Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the newly released Eldegoss in the Go Battle League. We want to have some battles here with this new Pokemon, and honestly, it's going to be an interesting one, at least for the future. Currently, this Pokemon has only 2 charge moves, which you see as well on this one as well, which you don't really need to have. Like, Grass Knot is totally fine. You don't need Energy Ball at all. Grass Knot is basically the same damage as Energy Ball. But Energy Ball, there's 5 more energy, but you have a 10% chance to drop the opponent's defense stat, which is the only benefit of Energy Ball. But the good thing about Eldegoss, and that is something that is definitely something that's kind of nice for it at least, is that it has a lot of bulk. It has quite a lot of bulk. It's one of the bulkiest grass-type Pokemon currently around. I actually don't even know if there is anything that is really bulkier than this Pokemon. Most likely a Jumpluff is most likely more bulky. Jumpluff has quite, yeah, definitely Jumpluff is a little bit bulkier than the Eldegoss. Just doesn't really seem like this because most people are running this Pokemon as Shadow, of course, the Jumpluff, not the Eldegoss. And yeah, we're going to take a look here at a team that's very close to the team that I showcased already yesterday. We just basically substituted one Pokemon here because it is a bit difficult to find a team around a Pokemon that's a pure grass type, I have to say. You need something kind of to answer, for example, Ferrothorn. That's why I am using Mawile. It's one of the best answers. We need to answer the, what's called, the Galarian Weezing, which is the main reason why we are running the Jellicent here, which is one of the best answers to that one as well. So we were kinda, I don't know, in a very difficult position here. There's also, for the people who purchased the GoFest ticket, a new other grass-type Pokemon available in Skidoo, which we're gonna take a look at later on this channel. We already did the battles with. And Skidoo is definitely basically just Eldegoss and a little bit better, but still, we always kind of want to take a look at the new Pokemon here, and so today Eldegoss gets its spotlight. I do think that Eldegoss has some potential though in the future. Eldegoss has really good stats, as said before. Grass Knot is already a solid move to have on this. Eldegoss just basically needs a cheaper move, and this is something that might be happening in the future. And I do think that this Pokemon has some potential. We just have to see on what Niantic is going to do here. I find it quite wild that this only has 2 charge moves available to itself there, which is very unusual for Pokemon. So I would assume that this is one of the Pokemon that's going to get buffed next season or like the season afterwards with like getting a little bit more, I don't know, variety in the moveset. But here we're going to be able to knock out the Greninja and we can already win 2 battles with this Pokemon. You would like to have a little bit of coverage, of course, on this one. And while looking through the moves that this Pokemon can learn, it honestly doesn't really have any coverage. It is literally just having Grass-type moves also in the main series games, which is quite wild, which is most likely why it only has Grass-type moves here. There are some moves that it could learn in the future, maybe, when they get added into the game, like Pollen Puff, which I would assume is going to be one of the moves that's going to be very likely added soon as a very good Bug-type attack. But then again, Bug and Grass, yeah, they have different kind of coverage, at least on what they hit. But, yeah, no, it's still not the best coverage. And that's basically it, actually. Like, there is nothing really else that this Pokemon can learn that would be kind of interesting, which is interesting, I guess. Because, like, I actually thought I had a little bit more coverage. It only has, like, Charm as, like, another move that would not be a Grass-type move. So, that is the actual issue. I didn't know that really before. I was just looking it up at the side. This Pokemon has no coverage currently, but this doesn't mean that it's going to stay like this, because again, we're going to have a new game coming out very soon with Legends ZA, which might allow this Pokemon to have a bit more variety than just grass type moves. But that is mad though. Like, I actually would have not even expected this one, because basically in the modern day and age, Pokemon usually doesn't really do this kind of stuff. Would learn Hyper Voice, but Hyper Voice is not in the game yet, and it's a normal type move, which is usually quite bad. So yeah, this Pokemon most likely will not get any good coverage in the future, because it doesn't have any good coverage. That is kind of wild. Anyway, let's take a look at the battles again. We're going to have the surf coming through from our Jellicent, and we're going to be able to go for the full final against Lapras, and we're going to be able to go for 3 wins here. But yeah, Eldegoss, a weird Pokemon. Do you like Eldegoss? Like, Eldegoss, like one of those Pokemon that I feel like was quite hyped for a little bit when the generation first released. Also, I think mainly because it was also added to Unite quite early on, Pokemon Unite. I don't actually know how Pokemon Unite is currently doing. Was playing this in the beginning a lot, and I actually really enjoyed Pokemon Unite, but yeah, haven't really played it in like 2 years now at this point. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna see here the charge moves coming through from Jellicent. Jellicent is honestly such a busted Pokemon. It is ridiculous on how good this Pokemon is. And we're gonna be able to go into the Eldegoss against the Shadow Lapras, which of course would have access to the move Ice Beam, which you kind of want to avoid here. As these Sparkling Areas coming through, great bait by the opponent. They go into the Weezing. I can take a Sludge here, for sure. We have great bulk, as said before. We can take a hit. We can take a super effective Sludge, even though Sludge is very hard hitting and super effective and stab. It's still not going to be enough to knock us out, and here we are, try to boost our own attack and try to win with our Mawile. I actually am not able to currently run Pokemon like Weezing or the Ferrothorn because I don't have the correct moveset on either of them, which is quite annoying, as I don't have any charge TMs. Like, there were people in the comment section who were like wondering, how do you not have any charge TMs? You see the amount of Pokemon I showcase on my channel, the amount of changes every season happen. It is not possible to keep up. Like, I do every single 3-star right there I see nearby, and it's still not possible to keep up. Anyway, next one, we're going to see Golisopod. We kind of want to swap out here eventually. Golisopod is okay for us, especially also later on. As soon as you're kind of going to be able to, get energy on a Pokemon or something like this, you're going to be fine here. But let's see on how this is going to go here. We're going to have the Jellicent. We're going to be able to go ahead and go for a hard-hitting move here as well. The Surf is going to get shielded, which is great. And we can try to go for another move. I could use a shield here and try to force, I think, another shield. No, I think they still have a shield left. They do. And so the Shadow Ball is coming through now. This is looking really, really good, as we will have now the option to realign. We have the Lapras coming back in, and we're going to have still our Eldegoss, of course, to deal with this Pokemon. Eldegoss is coming in. We can take an Ice Beam, by the way. Ice Beam is not going to knock us out here, which is kind of funny because we're just bulky. We're like really, really bulky, which is a cool thing about this Pokemon for sure. Helps us out quite a bit. But here we're going to see now the Mawile up against the Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing is basically everywhere. And like for good reason. Like, this Pokemon is by far the best Pokemon to run. It is very difficult to counter. There are only like 2 or 3 Pokemon that can really counter it. I actually like quite a bit more. I guess like any water type that has like a secondary type that can resist poison. Kinda. Like, we have like, for example, Gastron, which can kind of resist the charge moves. We have the Jellicent that can resist all the charge moves, but we also have Tentacruel, which can resist all the charge moves, which is also one of the best Pokemon in the current meta. Anyway, Mawile is coming in here next. We're going to be able to go for the Power Up Punch. This is going to be fine. And we will see here that this is going to allow us to get them kind of low. We can go ahead and let the move go through. And as we will see, the Power Punch is going to, nearly knock us out. We can go for the full farm down here. And we will have now the Eldegoss coming in. Let's see. Do we go into the Eldegoss? We go actually into the Jellicent, which is the right choice. It's going to be the Lapras. I was assuming it's going to be very like the team that I showcased before, where actually this team is really good against. Like, this team kind of counters my team from the last video, which is kind of nice, of course, for us. But we are able to here try to get the shields from the opponent, and if they're going to have their own Jellicent in the back, we're going to be in such a great spot. They go for another Sparkling Area here. That is fine. They do some solid damage. We can go for the Shadow Ball here. And with this, we have basically a very good position for ourselves, as we have the Eldegoss now coming in. We're going to try our best to go for another charge move here against the opponent. This is going to be here, shield coming up though first against the Ice Beam, and we have now enough energy to go for Grass. And the Gengar Slot does the same amount of damage like the Energy Ball. Energy Ball just has the defense drop chance, and we have the Jellicent in the back, which means we win the battle. So next up, we're going to have here the Lapras coming in. This is going to be, again, something where we kind of want to stay in for a little bit, try to catch a move here onto the Jellicent. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we're going to get out the Amoonguss, which is very important for this team, because if you take a look, of course, at the Pokemon that we have in the back here, Grass type moves will not really cut it against the Amoonguss, so I'm kind of happy to get this Pokemon out of the way. We have the Foul Play coming through, and we can go for another Shadow Ball against the opponent here, which is going to allow us to get the shield. We have the fast move down happening here very, very soon as well, but we have to use a shield here because actually, Sludge Bomb it's going to be. I thought it was Big Grass Knot, even though it's a resisted hit though, it actually does quite a lot of damage against us. We're going to be able to catch the move here onto the Eldegoss. It's going to be the Sparkling Area, and this is doing no damage. And this is the thing as well, it's one of the bulkiest Grass type Pokemon in the current meta. But then again, why would you want to run Eldegoss if you have Jumpluff? Here, in this case, you don't have Jumpluff. Jumpluff doesn't have any play, or like is not allowed to be used basically, because it would be too strong for this meta. So it's very cool to have like Eldegoss here as like at least a meta here where Eldegoss has a bit of more potential. But again, it's not a good Pokemon right now. I would recommend you to, of course, just get a good one. It's very easy to find in the wild, by the way. It's basically everywhere. Like, I was just walking through the city and I got like 12 in literally 5 minutes. So, like, it's not a Pokemon that's difficult to obtain at all. So, why not just try to get some, yeah, I don't know, good IV variants of this one and then just leave it for whenever it might be good. Maybe Pollen Puff going to be such a broken move that this Pokemon going to be top meta. Who knows? But we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have here the Mawile against the Mawile. This is again going to be very likely the team that we showcased yesterday. But they swap out into their own water type Pokemon, which is going to be cool for us, as we have now the Grass Knot coming through. And I actually decided to use a shield here because that's the thing as well with what I talked about before, that even though it's resisted hits against the Mawile is so squishy that even something like a Grass Knot is going to do a ton of damage. And as you see here, we had to use a shield anyway as they go for another Shadow Ball here afterwards. We are going to be able to go ahead and go for that Grass Knot, do some solid damage. We are going to see here our own Mawile coming back in. And we can take the hit, but also we still have our own Jellicent, and so I can swap out of here. I expect the Lapras. Let's see what's going to be in the back. It is going to be the Lapras, and it's going to be the Shadow variant, which can be quite good for us. But I decide now to go ahead and go for the Surf, and they called the bait. But I'm not too worried about it at this point, because I still have the shield left. I know that I can take all the hits here, and I know I can just go for the Surf spam. I don't even need to go for the Shadow Ball at this point anymore. I just go for Surf, and I should be in a position where I should be able to just win the battle. We can go ahead and go for another Surf against the opponent, which is going to be great. And this is going to allow us to get the final shield. We still have a shield left here. They still are forced to go for another charge move against us. And this is going to be the sparkling area that can knock us out. But we have here still the shield for this matchup. And we still have the option to go for a Power Punch to, yeah, boost ourselves up here. And this is going to be definitely it for this Lapras. We're going to be able to get the near KO. They're still actually going to swap out, but the Mawile goes down. We can now win the battle quite easily. And we can move on to the second to last battle. Leavanny is basically the best possible lead that you could imagine here, and so we will have here the Weezing coming in against us, and we stay in for a little bit too long. We have to use a shield here just in case it's going to be that overheat, but it's going to be the Sludge now. And so I stay in for 5 more fast moves, or 4 more fast moves, and actually catch the move here. Is it going to be the overheat? That would be ideal. It is the overheat, and with this, they don't do damage. They are very low. We have a ton of energy on our Mawile, and yes, we're going to be a shield down, but we're also going to be able to just farm them down here with our Jellicent, because they're just not going to do any damage. And this is so nice as they're gonna go back into the Leavanny, which is gonna do some super effective damage against us here with fast and charge move. It doesn't really matter because we have so much energy that we can just KO them without a problem. And now we have 2 Power Punches stored on our Mawile. I do think we're gonna be in such a great spot here. And let's see, what do they have in the back? It's going to be a Lapras again. We should swap out into our Eldegoss here to go for the Grass Knots. This is going to be very cool because, again, we can take a hit here. Like, it's not that we're going to be completely weak with our Eldegoss. And they're going to catch the move here. That is fine. We get rid of the final Pokemon, like the final Pokemon other than the Lapras, which is going to be cool because they cannot swap out anymore. They cannot catch a move. It's all down to Lapras against our Mawile. They went for the Skullbush here. That is an interesting play that they run Skullbush on their Lapras, because I definitely think that Ice Beam is kind of needed here for this mid, I have to say. But we'll take it. As you're going to see here, we're going to be able to go for another Power Punch. And this is going to be, yeah, basically enough to get the KO, and we can move on to the final battle. Last battle here for today. Again, there's going to be another episode later on for the Skiddo Evolution. Forgot the name of it. Doesn't really matter, you know which Pokemon I mean. Anyway, and as you see here, you're going to be able to go for a Shadow Ball against the opponent's, what's called Golisopod. They're going to go for a shield. We can let the move go through. It is going to be the Awkward Jet, and we can try our best here to let the next move go through as well. It is going to be, again, another Awkward Jet, and we have not the Surf though, and so we couldn't realign. Is it an issue? It might become an issue, because here we see the Golisopod going for the Awkward Jet. They swap out into their own Mawile. What do I do now? I have my Eldegoss in the back, so I don't really want to swap into this one, so I have to stay in here. And yeah, now it becomes a little bit of an issue for us, as we have to go for the Power Punch. We're gonna be able to get the KO at the same time, which is cool, and now it's down to Eldegoss with 1 shield against a Credilli. Yeah, this is going to not really work out. And so this is kind of going to be it for this video. I would appreciate if you would leave a like here for the Eldegoss showcase. I try out Pokemon here on this channel just mainly so you can see on how they perform and if it's worth it for you to build them. For Eldegoss, I give you the honest review that you should not build this Pokemon. Absolutely not. But again, I do think it is a fun Pokemon that could be cool in the future if Pollen Puff gets added and it's like a 40 energy move that helps you with any kind of side effect. It might be a cool Pokemon to run then, because the bulk is there, like you have the stats, you just don't have the moveset, and that is not even only the fault of like Pokemon Go or whatever. It's just because in the main CS games it just doesn't have the coverage. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Actually, we'll learn Leaf Tornado, which would be a cool bait move. But yeah, that's going to be it here. See you then. Bye bye.